You're listening to the Traffic and Conversion Show. I'm your host, Michelle Fernandez, and my guest today is Penny Kelley. She is a growth marketing strategist who leads from new entrepreneurs getting their first leads and sales online to experienced business owners achieving 2x, 3x, or even 10x revenue growth from our marketing strategies and sales optimizations. Since 2014, Penny has trained thousands of business owners to optimize sales funnels, improve their customer journey, and to use Facebook and Google marketing for business growth. Prior to starting Marketing Profit School, Penny spent 20 years in corporate sales, management, and leadership. Penny was also named a Brains CREA Global Award recipient for 2021 and 2022. She is a certified Facebook marketing consultant and has been featured on podcasts, including the Traffic and Conversion Show, which this is her second time back. She lives in Covington, Louisiana with her husband and two spoiled cats and has two children in college and grad school. I have known Penny for years now, and you'll hear a little bit more about how I first got started, and Penny was all about it. Today is all about personalized marketing, so stay tuned. Hey there, welcome back to the show, and I am excited today because Penny Kelley is back on the show. Welcome back, Penny.
Hi, Michelle. I'm so excited to be here with you.
I know, this is so good. We haven't talked in a while, and so many changes have been going on. So before we dive in to what we're going to talk about today, because I really think that personalized marketing is like the way to go. It's always been the way to go, but I think really diving deeper into that with our strategy in 2023 is going to be great. But can you dive into, tell us a little about who you are, what you do, and who you serve, all that good stuff?
Absolutely. So, hi, I'm Penny Kelley, and I am first and foremost a marketing strategist and a business coach. And most of the clients I work with end up being a hybrid model of this coaching and consulting because my theory is if I know how to do something, I'm not going to make you go figure out how to do it on your own. But if there's a question you need to answer about the path you're going to take or a decision you're going to make, you have to answer that question. I can't answer it for you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how we make those decisions. And I work with coaches and consultants and other experts to grow their business faster, to move beyond that six-figure ceiling and get closer to seven figures or past it if that's what they want. A lot of the people I work with really want that comfortable lifestyle business, which looks like multiple six to low seven figures. That's very manageable with a small team.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I help them do. 9 times out of 10, that includes adding paid ads to what they've been doing in an organic or referral-based atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. And for those of you who don't know, Penny is who I learned how to run ads from, like from the get-go, from the beginning, where I was like, oh, okay, let me test this. Do you remember those days?
I remember those days. I remember talking to you on the phone and meeting you and Danny at that event in like 2017 or something. Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
very
Oh my
early
gosh.
on. Yep.
I remember I was so scared because I was like, I want to do this, but I don't want to do this. I want to do this, and I don't want to do this.
It's very scary. And look, for new people investing in like a year-long mentorship program, like that is a very scary thing to do because there's this inherent feeling that you're taking on so much risk and
Mm-hmm.
that you really have to trust the person that you're working with, that they're going to deliver the training that they promise. And if there's any done for you, done with you elements, that they're going to deliver what they promise. But you also have to trust yourself that you're going to do the work. You
Yes.
know, that's the biggest thing for most people, I think, is that they have the desire, but maybe that desire isn't strong enough, or the self-doubt is still too high, that they're just not sure they're actually going to put the work in to
Mm-hmm.
get the end results that they want out of it. And that makes it even scarier, right?
It does. It does. It does. You made the process pretty smooth. And then even going in, like it was just like I didn't know anything about digital. I didn't know anything. I didn't even know I was going to be learning digital marketing, to be honest. I just wanted out of my 9 to 5. I'm like, what is this whole crazy thing I'm going to be learning? So it was just such a It was a beautiful experience to go through. And I'm sure there were times where you were like, no, but you're such a great teacher where you're just like, okay, you're just going to learn your lessons and
Right.
very patient. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
And then we're still friends today. I can't believe
Right.
it. Right? Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
So we talk about this all the time. We always text back and forth or leave voice messages of what's going on, what we see working now. So let's talk about, can you just explain what personalized marketing is when we're talking about that?
Absolutely. So I think, first of all, I think if you ask 10 people, you'll probably get 9 answers on that, right? So for me, what it is, I am a very big Seth Godin fan in my approach to marketing, to permission-based marketing. And I've also followed and done some mentorship with Andre Chaperone, who wrote Autoresponder Madness years and years ago, and his business partner, Sean Twing. And they are all about sort of being real and authentic and segmenting. So one of the things that Seth talks about is your smallest viable audience. And if you think of like a Venn diagram of 2 or 3 or 4 circles and where they overlap in that tiny little part in the middle, that is where the gold lies for all of us in this crowded, oversaturated information marketing space, because there's so many people over the last 3 years when everybody had to stay home that have started online businesses. So there's a lot of noise out there. And the way that we break through the noise is really, really, really understanding our customers and understanding those ideal client prospects, the thoughts they're already having, understanding how like an empathy map works of what they see and hear and feel and say to themselves. So when they read our content online, we are literally joining the conversations that are already going on in their heads. And that means if, like, for my business, I have 3 ideal avatars that I think of when I create content and create marketing. So I am not trying to create one social media post for all 3 of them. I'm trying to create one social media post for person 1, person 2, or person 3. And I'm going to kind of rotate. My voice is my voice, right? I'm going to rotate those things I think about that are the triggers for them, not like triggering someone in a negative, bad, that lowest common denominator kind of marketing, because that feels pretty icky to a lot of people right now, especially female entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
But something that's like, oh, I was just thinking about that. Or how did you know that's what woke me up at 3 a.m?
Right. How did you get in my head?
Right.
Is there a camera somewhere in here?
Right. Right. Is there a hidden microphone? Are we playing spy games here? You know?
Yeah.
And so it's just getting really clear. And that is, there's a great Abraham Lincoln quote about, if you have 6 hours to cut down a tree, spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. So that is audience research for us marketers. And whatever kind of business you're in, if you're a solopreneur or you're trying to remain a very small business with a small team, you are probably doing the marketing research yourself. And I definitely recommend that you do it yourself until you're at least, a couple 100,000 in revenue, at least, because you need to know how your people think. You need to know what's important to them if you're having conversations with them and if you're the one serving them and helping them have whatever transformation you provide.
Right.
So that is Amazon book reviews, forums like Reddit and Quora and things like that, general websites, people that they follow, your competitors, but also thought leaders of, are they an Oprah person or a Brene Brown person or a Tony Robbins person, and that kind of stuff. And really just kind of, stalking them in not a creepy way to the places that they go on social media and the websites they visit, and see what those people are talking about and test some of those themes in your content to see how it lands and how people engage with it. And engaging with some of those thought leaders' content on social media, so your ideal clients start seeing you in those ways, and then add paid traffic to things that are already working. Paid traffic can't fix a broken funnel. You and I both know that.
Yes.
And it can't sell a bad offer. So like everything else has to be working before the traffic's going to work well for you.
So true. So true. If anybody needs to hear that again, press the rewind. Okay. Okay. So When we're talking about personalized marketing, you mentioned segmenting. And I know when I mention that to people, they kind of like in freak out mode a little bit, like, oh my gosh, that sounds super complicated. So can you touch base on that? Because you also said you speak to person 1, 2, 3, or speak to that. So can you get into that a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. So my 3 avatars that I speak with are at 2 of them are at different places in their business growth, and one of them owns a small agency and is not in that like coach course creator space,
Hmm.
right? So those are kind of where my 3 delineators come out. And I don't bring them in with those tags necessarily if they get on my list or if they book a call with me. The questions they answer when they book a call, segment them, or the lead magnet or the thing they come in, if it's a webinar or a workshop or whatever, how they come onto the list helps me segment. And then part of my nurture series is a little like 2 or 3 question survey. I don't like using that word, but it's like, hey, help me help you kind of thing. And
Hmm.
it's like, which best describes you and what's your level of experience running digital ads or paid advertising? And then like, what's your one biggest challenge right now growing your business? Like very basic, right? So from that, I'm going to know if they're running ads. And I use that for like my second tier nurturing. But in that first tier nurturing, I'm going to segment them into whether they consider themselves a coach, a consultant, or something else.
Hmm.
And typically, coach consultant with a course is kind of who most of my ideal people are, or
Hmm.
else they're going to get a course so I can help them get something passive in addition to all the active things they're doing in their business.
Right.
Um, and then every now and then I get people who have physical products. And so that's more like Shopify and those kind of things, which are not my zone of genius, but I've learned a lot how to do it just because I keep getting these clients that have Shopify stores. So I've learned how to do these things.
That's great.
Um,
But so you can really use this for anything. So even if you had like a brick and mortar or anything,
100%. Yeah.
right? So it could even be like age, or like one example I used the other day because I was with a bunch of like physical therapists. Like it even be like, well, where is the pain? Is it in the back, the shoulder, the knees, whatever? And then you can segment them that way. Are there any
Yeah.
other like ideas or
Yeah, for that physical therapist too, or for like a chiropractor, you can have some questions that you ask them that help you figure out, are they going to be an insurance patient or someone who might be interested in the things that are more cash services for you, because those are typically higher profit margin for you. You're not bound by what insurance will pay you for those services. And
Mhm.
so I know a lot specifically PTs and chiropractors look for those cash services because that's what keeps their business in business. They
Mhm.
serve the insurance market because they kind of have to be a real business, right?
Mhm.
But it's really hard to pay all the bills with what insurance will pay because of how whacked out our health insurance system is. But also, car dealerships, auto mechanics, hair salons, if you could do it by age, you can do it. I think hair salons are probably one of those places where someone's ethnicity might determine what kind of content they want to show that person by how they're fixing their hair, how they're doing their hair,
Mhm.
getting it done at the salon. And so you probably have to tread a little bit lightly on how you go about all of that.
Mhm.
Um, but because we don't want anyone to feel unwelcome if we want to have that inclusive environment. And so you just have to choose, what's gonna make sense without people feeling weird about the questions that you're asking. But really, I think for any business, it's just if you make it part of that onboarding process when you're bringing someone into your email list or even into a chatbot sequence,
Mhm.
hey, help us put you in the right place to get the information you need. Answer these 3 questions, and then you have like 3 lanes you can put them in. People can go way more than 3, right? I've seen 16
Mhm.
different segmentations. That is really complicated. It is a lot to manage for the person who's doing the tech on it, but
Mhm.
it's a lot for a business owner to wrap their head around too. So I really recommend having 2 or 3 when you get started and just getting used to maybe, look, I still send out 1 newsletter to my whole list. And
Mhm.
it's good, like a basic marketing, grow your business, get more sales, get more leads kind of content.
Mhm.
And every now and then there's a little bit of tech, something on like setting up an automation or tools I use or whatever. But then in those nurture sequences, that's also where it comes into, if you're doing a promotion or a launch, do you send it to everybody on your list? Or do you get people to raise their hand if they want to see it? Or do you let them raise their hand if they don't want to see it? Like, any of those things are ways of segmenting so that you're better serving the people that are in your audience.
Mm-hmm.
The same with your paid traffic and how you retarget. You're only sending
Mm-hmm.
that next ad to people who've already seen the first one or that landing page, or they saw that offer and didn't buy it. So you're either reminding them of it and overcoming objections, or you're sending them something else as a downsell, upsell, or different sell.
Right. Oh my gosh, that was so well said. So I just had a light bulb moment because, and I think I was just focusing on selling one particular product, because a lot of what I've learned is like to focus on the one like your best seller, right? However, in a lot of companies, you might have like even just the example that you gave about the chiropractor and the insurance on insurance. You also most likely have add-ons or you have upsells or something like that. So even diving deeper into some of the things, and maybe the sequences still go to the bestseller. However, now you have them tagged or segmented accordingly that now you know you can get them to the next thing. So even when you were saying, oh, some people maybe are good at making, let's say, multiple six figures, and maybe they're just not interested in getting to the seven figure. But the people who are in the seven figure, then maybe that's the next level of product, right? So we need to be thinking when we're segmenting strategically, because everybody's like, I don't really know marketing strategy, but this is part of the strategies. You need to be thinking big picture.
Right.
What is the ultimate thing, and working it backwards. So this is ideally, and not making it too complicated, right? You
Keeping
can
it as simple as
simplify it,
possible. Yeah.
but speed up the sales process. You're priming them, getting ready them not only to buy the bestseller, but even beyond that, right?
Right.
Oh my God. So good. Okay. So let's talk about top of funnel. So you gave us an idea like that. What are some other ways? You mentioned like lead magnet. What are some other ways that we can do this? Top of funnel meeting, cold people coming in. Let's get them started from the get-go.
Yeah. Cold people coming in is kind of that catch-all for top of funnel. And it can be warm. The algorithms on both Facebook and Google are going to show your top of funnel things to your warm audience too, but it's not really a super warm audience. It's going to tend to be kind of at that top that see it. They're going for the easy win and the quick registrations or leads or signups within that first couple of days of an ad. So that's going to be mostly warm people. And then they'll get the cold working behind it. But things that help you with that segmentation, a workshop or webinar about a specific topic, overcome the top 3 problems of like closing sales or building your list, right? Then you're getting people who are interested in doing that in their business, or growing a team, growing beyond 6 figures, growing beyond $500,000, finally getting to 7, whatever it is, right? And also things like quizzes. We have that inherent desire to know more about ourselves,
Yes.
to discover what is wrong with me that I can't do that thing I really want to do, or what is my superpower that everybody should be celebrating with me.
Right.
And so those are kind of personality quizzes, or like a killer quiz. And, a lot of us learned a lot of this language from Ryan Levesque. I was actually in his business coaching program last year, and have been through his course. So a lot of this language is his language. It's not my language when I talk about quizzes, to give that proper due. And the other type of quiz is a score, which is a much harder type of quiz to build, but it is really good if you're working with higher level clients, of like, what's your readiness for something? And the other ones are like the personality of, maybe you've seen like, which 80s TV character are you? And then how does that relate to the thing you're trying to do?
Right.
Or, which song is you, or something like that. And then the killers are like, what is this thing you're doing to sabotage the outcome you want, basically, right? And, or some, perceived as an outside force, but it usually ends up being something internal that you're going to need to change when you go through those quizzes. So those are great ways to segment, because you can put, I think the recommendation is somewhere between like 4 or 5 questions up to about 12 questions. People can get through it in just a few minutes. They get a relatively personalized outcome, but you're only going to have, in quiz funnel world, they're called buckets of like what those segments are coming out. And you're only going to have the number of buckets as the number of outcomes. So that's how many segments you have. So clients that have never done this before that I work with, I try to get them to stick to 3 or 4 buckets and not make it overly complicated, because for each bucket you need to tell them, like on a video or a landing page, what their result is and what it means. You're going to send them a nurture campaign behind that. So you're writing all of this for each of those outcomes, or having someone on your team do it if you have a team to do it. But for a lot of us, we're doing this ourselves or with a VA.
Right.
So it's a lot of, it's a lot of repetitive work. If the more buckets you have on those outcomes. But the cool thing is, a lot of these softwares, and I know Ryan's does with his bucket software, it connects very deeply and integrates very deeply with Facebook and with Google Analytics. So however the people are coming in, it's very easy to build small custom audiences from the people that have gone through your quiz and retarget them with things specific to their answer to a question or their outcomes. So that's like a whole other level of wave your magic wand and sprinkle the fairy dust. And wow, I can do things I didn't even know were possible with my data and my marketing. But it can get complex for people that feel like they're allergic to tech. So you don't have to do all that, right?
Right.
You can just get your outcomes, send your look, right now in my own funnel, if someone takes my quiz, they get the first email is different. And then the rest of the emails are based on their other answers to questions, but everybody gets put in the same follow-up, and it's just yes or no questions to which email they get after that.
Yeah. So you can make it as complicated as you want, depending on what your product, or you can just keep it simple and saying, hey, 1, 2, or 3. Like even when you were talking about ads, it's like, have you run ads? Yes. No. Okay. No. Or I have an agency, right? It could just be that simple.
Right.
Okay. So we don't need to get too crazy, but, well, just out of curiosity for the quiz, you're probably going to be like, what, how long, like if not, let's just say it's not real intricate. How long does it take, or should you expect it to take to kind of build out a quiz?
It depends on how much of that audience research information you have and how long it takes you to figure out what kind of quiz you want and do that initial testing for your hook and those things. The quiz funnel class, if you ever do that with Ryan, that's a 6-week class, and it's very doable to get everything finished and sent into their team to build it for you if you get that bonus, right? In the 6 weeks. They have templates. So, and I've built a quiz in an afternoon for somebody once they have all the stuff to me, right? All the information to me. And so that's really getting all the information and like building the images in Canva that you're going to put into the funnel and things like that. That's what takes time. But if you have a VA that you can send the dimensions and examples to do the graphics for you while you're just working on the heavy lifting, is what type of quiz, what is that hook going to be to get people to want to click and learn more, building that initial landing page, and getting the copy on the landing page and getting the questions written and determining how many of those questions determine the outcomes. The easiest way to do it is that you're getting insights into people with every single question, but only one question really determines the outcome of the quiz.
Are you going to share what that is?
It depends.
Oh, I see.
It depends, right? So you pick, it's going to be an early question, and most of them, like question 2 or 3, probably for most people who have that one question outcome. You can push it later if you want to, but it's for someone, let's say for someone who is, I'm trying to think of a good example of one who's looking for like financial planning, right? And it's like, do you currently have any accounts other than your 401k at work? Any investment accounts? Do you,
so
how much do you have an investment account?
Question, right?
Like, do you have a will written or whatever,
So
like that might be, that could,
the ultimate qualifying question, like, are they even like a customer? Like if we're going back to the ad example and you're wanting to run ads, it's like, do you have a budget for paid traffic? And if they're like 0, then we know that they're most likely going to need organic strategies first, make some
Right.
money, and then move on. Okay. Got it.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
And
Oh
they're
my
going to
gosh.
need the expectations of doing organic traffic and
Yes.
how long that takes to work, right?
Yes. And honestly, I mean, you can tell we're a couple of paid traffic girls that want to, because honestly, the fastest growing businesses are using some form of paid traffic, most likely Facebook, I would say
Yeah.
10 times out of 10, and then they add other things, right?
Yeah.
So when we're looking to do this, and I think this is, I just wanted to touch base on this, and then maybe you can give your 2 cents in. It's because I feel like what happens is a lot of times I see this over and over. People spend all this time, all this money, and they build out this thing. And then they're like, oh, but no one's buying it. Or I'm like, is anybody even seeing it? It's like,
Right. Or people
it's
see
not
the landing page and don't do the quiz.
exactly. So it's like, just because you build it, they don't necessarily come, right? So it's kind of like, what are your thoughts of either not only driving traffic, but to at least even while you're in the build out, like getting people ready for this, or what are some things that you recommend for that?
Yeah. So there is something you can do if you already have a list, right? Is send your list to a 1 question survey that gets their biggest challenge from them in the topic that you're going to build the quiz around, right? Hey, when it comes to this, what's your biggest challenge, right? And whether that's running Facebook ads or growing your business, increasing your cash flow, getting your funnel to convert better, general getting your business to grow faster, any
Mhm.
of those things in the realm that you and I tend to work in with clients, or whatever that question is about losing weight or feeling more healthy and fit or saving money or being prepared for the future financially. Yeah. Any of those things, you figure out how to word your question for your people. And you leave that as an open-ended question that they can just type as much as they want, and you will get gold. Now, depends on how many responses you get, how big your list is, all that is, if that's enough. If not, then you go do that audience research just like you did for the other things to come up with the pains, challenges, fears, dreams, desires, all that stuff, right?
Mhm.
And then you use that information to build the quiz. And just like any other landing page or sales page, the goal of the page they land on is to get them to take the next step.
Mhm.
So if they don't click the button to start the quiz from that landing page,
Right.
doesn't matter. So the landing page has to do its job to get them to click the button. And then that first question, Ryan calls it a grease the wheel question. It should be a really easy, like yes or no, or like for mine, do you have a new business or an existing business?
Mhm.
Very easy, right?
Mhm.
So it's just like those little hits of dopamine to get them to like the micro commitments when you're making a webinar pitch.
Right.
Um, and then on the outcome of it, you go through the questions, they get their outcome. On the outcome page, they have a button to click to check out a product to purchase, to register for a webinar, to book a call with you, whatever you want their next step to be based on that outcome.
Mhm. Hmm.
But each question should feel like it's gonna benefit the outcome for them.
Mhm.
Mainly that landing page has to get them to click to start the quiz. Some people test taking them straight to the first question of the quiz, and you can
Mhm.
do that too.
Mhm.
But I think having the landing page gives you it enriches the experience of the quiz. You just have to figure out how much you want on that page or how simple you
Mhm.
want it to be.
I love this because, and then even when we're talking about I mean, the market research or target audience research, whatever you want to call it, should definitely be done all the time. And I speak to this often because a lot of times we're like, okay, we did it when we first started our business, and then we think we're golden. But so many
Mhm.
things change, and I feel that I don't know, it could just be me, but I feel like things are changing more rapid than when we first started, right?
For
And
sure.
or at least for when I first started.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
since the pandemic, I feel like the
yes.
cycle of change has increased. Like I don't know
Yes.
if you've read like Good to Great and Turning the Flywheel by Jim Collins,
Mm,
where like it turns faster and more happens with every turn when you get that flywheel in place, which is kind
yes.
of what you and I help businesses do is get their flywheel turning faster and creating bigger results.
Yes.
Um, but I feel like the flywheel of like general business environment change and adaptation has sped up since the pandemic.
Yes, for sure. And then, of course, just with our whole mindset, right? Or whatever everybody wants to call it. Cause then it's like, oh, wait, now there's more people. And then I'm seeing more things. Or if everybody's doing their Facebook ads, right? You're going to be seeing more retargeting of other competition. And then all of that gets in your head. So it starts playing different games. So when you're talking about the empathy and the pain, struggles, dreams, desires type of thing, the fears, that all comes into play. So it's important that you stay on top of that to make sure that whatever you're doing, quiz, landing page, whatever it is you're doing, you're speaking to them. So it also plants that seed to be like, oh, wait, this is possible. Or even, oh, I didn't even know that I need to be doing this or worried about this or whatever it is. It's like, I'm sure those questions are positioned in a specific way for you to kind of get your wheels spinning. I love this. Okay, what else can you share about personalized marketing? I think we covered a lot, but is there any other best practices, best tips, anything like that?
Yeah, I think just like you just said, everything has changed. And so that permission-based marketing, and we're all vying for attention. And while we all have like the world's greatest computer in our pocket or our purse, what the audience is craving is connection. So look, in the early 2000s, Seth Godin talked about the connection economy, right? We get paid when we earn people's trust and attention through making a connection with them. So that is the switch that you flip when you put some personalized element in your marketing, is you help them feel like they are part of the tribe and they belong here. And that sense of belonging is what helps the trust come in. So that's the bottom line, is they have to know, like, and trust are still a thing. They have to trust you to say, shut up and take my money. Right. So that is it. You're just building that trust faster. It means you're taking them from being an anonymous, cold member of your audience to being an enrolled member, client, customer faster. Because you're dialing in on what's important to them that gives them a reason to buy and a reason to buy now.
Yes. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much, Penny. This was so great. And can I always tell you that I'm always impressed that you're like, you even before we press record, you were like, oh, did you read this book? And then you literally remember so many specifics from each book. I'm like, you're always this like wealth of knowledge. You amaze me every time.
You're too kind.
Thank you so much for coming on the show today. Can you tell everybody where they can find you and all that good stuff?
Absolutely. So you can find me and connect with me on my website, marketingprofitschool.com. And the quiz will be on a pop-up there very soon. We just got a brand new website push live. So we're still working on some finishing details for that. But that's how they can see about working with me and getting connected with me. And I am Marketing Profit School on most socials, and Penny Kelley on LinkedIn.
I love it. Love it. Thanks again, Penny.
Thank you so much. Great talking with you, Michelle.
Likewise. All right. Well, there you have it. Personalized marketing, everything you need to know and should start to implement. If not this quarter, definitely make sure you get it on the calendar for next quarter, because it is the way to go. And that is what's going to have you stand out from your competition for sure. All right. Until next time, let's grow your business together.